Number one accessory that you should be installing in your CF Moto. If you've owned a CF Moto, you probably know that 90% of the time the batteries in these things fail. They're not very good. I think CF Moto should be doing a better job with the batteries that they supply when you buy these machines new. So the number one accessory that I think should be installed is a battery maintainer. There are a couple different styles that you can get. When you're researching these, you really need to make sure that you get a maintainer that's suitable for the type of battery that you have. You can get a battery maintainer where you have to clip it on the battery each time, which I really don't recommend. I recommend that you get a maintainer similar to this one. I got a Moto Power off the Jungle website. This thing is, it's kind of middle of the road. It wasn't super expensive, but it wasn't super cheap either. But it allows you to actually kind of hardwire it in. So you're going to hook the negative to the negative terminal, the positive to the positive terminal. It also has a fusible link here, which is great. So if you hook up something wrong, it blows the fuse and doesn't mess up your battery or your electrical system on your ATV. So you wire that into the battery. You'll run this to a location on the ATV that allows you to easily plug in your maintainer. So you would plug this into the wall. You're going to plug that into the harness that we put on the battery, and you can easily plug it and unplug it when you need to use it. Those of you who have a CF Moto 600 or any of the other ones that are the 2-ups, the touring, it's kind of a pain to get to that battery. You got to remove the seat. The battery's under the seat. It's not really easy to get to, and it's not easy to get these terminals on. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead, I'm going to hook this up to the battery, and then I'm going to go ahead and route the harness that came with the maintainer to a location that's easy to get to. On the passenger side, you've got the exhaust, so I wouldn't recommend routing it out that side. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to route this. Once I, hook it up to the battery, I'm going to route it out the driver's side here. And you'll see, essentially this is my battery. I think I'm going to route it out this side. I'll put a couple wire ties to the harness so it's easy to get to. I'll probably wire tie it here somewhere on the frame so it's stable. It has a nice weatherproof connector here. So we know that it's not going to get too nasty from the elements. I guess we'll see how it holds up. But I will be back in a moment. Once I remove the back seat here, I'll show you how I go ahead, hook this up to the battery. It's easy. The negative goes to the negative, the positive goes to the positive. We'll route it out the driver's side here, wire tie it to the frame, and then we'll have a nice, easy, quick connect for our battery maintainer. I've went ahead and removed my seat, removed my cargo box. Now I can go ahead and get to the battery. I have had to replace my battery. I ended up replacing it with an AGM. So again, when you get your battery maintainer, make sure it's compatible with the type of battery that you have. You can see I've got a negative terminal and a positive terminal. Many of you probably know this, but we always want to go ahead and unhook the negative terminal first. And then when you unhook your positive, if you happen to hit any metal, it's not going to arc off anything or cause any shorting. So for me, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hook my positive up to my positive, my negative up to my negative. When I hook up my positive, I'm going to route it underneath the terminal. You can hook this up in any order, but that'll just make it a little bit easier to cover it up with that rubber boot. So the main hot wire, put there. This is my winch cable, my winch positive. Go ahead, get that installed. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Nothing to it. Very simple upgrade that anybody can do. You shouldn't have to pay anybody to do this. Get our boot back on there. It's about as good as this one's gonna fit. I'm gonna go ahead, I will take my negative side and hook it up to the negative side of the battery. I'm going to go ahead and route this cable through the opening down here next to the battery out to the driver's side, and then I'm going to go ahead and wire tie it to the frame. I just quickly want to show how I routed the battery maintainer harness or hookup. So just the negative to the negative, the positive to the positive, easy peasy. I routed it through the frame. It comes over here to the driver's side, and you'll see this is the battery here. I just routed it through the frame. We've got one wire tie and another wire tie. Here's the plug. So it's pretty easy to get to. I might take a little bit of dielectric grease and throw it on there just for an extra security. I don't want water and stuff to get in there. And then essentially we've got the maintainer here. You can see here's the plug on the other end of the maintainer. I'm just going to go ahead, plug it in here. Again, pretty easy. I can do it with one hand, I don't know. There's your maintainer, and you can go ahead and plug the other end into the wall. And then when you're ready to use your ATV, you just go ahead, you unplug it, put the weather cap back on there, and go on with your day. You don't have to worry about trying to take this seat off every time, and using these type of alligator clips to hook up your maintainer every time you stop using your ATV, and then you want to use it again. You got to unhook it, put the seat back on, get to the battery. It's kind of a pain. So again, I think this is the #1 accessory that you should do to your CF Moto or any ATV when you first get it. If it doesn't have a battery maintainer with a quick connect on it, you should go ahead and make sure that you install that. You'll be a much happier owner later on because your battery will be maintained. It'll last a lot longer. You won't have issues starting, and overall it's going to be a lot easier to maintain that battery, hook it and unhook it. So this was just a quick video I wanted to put out there. If it was helpful and you like it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.